morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told out of Voice of Radio. So today, we need to take a little bit of a look at a couple of new Pokemon that are coming around in battle styles. That new Pokemon TCG expansion we showed you yesterday. We are still having to do a little bit of grouping together, more than I would usually like. But you know what? There are quite literally too many cards to get to, so just for a couple of days we are going to be grouping cards together to make sure we can get through all the cards in a timely fashion without having to do a video where I basically just show you the card. That's not really what we do here. We dig into the cards, we see what makes them tick, we see what they can do, we see how we're going to use them. So if we're going to be able to really dig into the card and bring them to you all in a nice timely manner, gonna have to be grouping some together. Today we're talking about a pair of single strike Pokemon, and we're talking Houndoom and Emboar, and we literally are just talking two single strike support Pokemon. It is unlikely you're going to be attacking with either of these, but using them in a single strike deck to give yourself a bit of a leg up, oh yes, ladies and gentlemen, oh yes. So let's start off having a little bit of a look at Houndoom. Now, Houndoom was one of the first cards we saw. It is a darkness type. Remember, single strike is all based around single strike Urshifu, who is darkness fighting, so not all of them, but we're expecting more fighting in darkness than anything else. And what we've got here is 130 HP. That's good for a stage 1. There's lots of Pokemon out there that do 120. A retreat cost of 2, which is quite nice because of the whole free retreat with air balloon thing, so that's quite cool. Weakness to grass is honestly one of the better weaknesses to have at the moment. Grass Pokemon, I mean, Decidueye was seeing a bunch of play, but that does seem to be slowing down. We're getting more options against that at the moment, so that's not really relevant. Honestly, unless Rillaboom decks start taking off or Zaru decks start taking off, I think we're probably, for a little while, going to be in a largely grass-free zone. So, not a bad weakness to have at all, quite frankly. And it is a darkness type, so you can use things like Black Market Prism Star to not give up a prize when you're KO'd, which sounds like a little bit of fun. And weakness-wise, you're hitting weakness on a few things here and there, but it's not terribly relevant. While we're here, the attack, 2 energy, 50 damage, no. Like, if there's a 100 HP Pokemon with weakness to darkness, yeah, fine, but even if you're playing Darkness Energy and there's no guarantee that you're going to, this kind of sucks and nobody cares. But the ability is phenomenal. Single Strike Roar. Once during your turn, you may search your deck for a Single Strike Energy card and attach it to one of your Single Strike Pokemon. And then you shuffle your deck, obviously, and if you did attach an energy to a Pokemon, you put 2 damage counters on that Pokemon. But this is probably where we need to remind ourselves, and it was a card we looked at yesterday, what it is that Single Strike Energy actually does. Well, it's that energy that provides both a fighting and darkness energy, and means you do an extra 20 damage. And that is awesome. As a side note here, it does actually make Houndoom's attack semi-viable, because now, if you've got 1 energy of any type in hand, you attach it to Houndoom, use the ability to attach a single strike energy to Houndoom, and then you're hitting 70 damage, which will be a KO on something like a Jirachi or a Galarian Zigzagoon or things of that nature. I'm not saying it's a good attack or one you should aim for, but I'm saying that 2 energy, 50 damage, terrible. But 2 energy, 70 damage, but really one of them you're getting with the ability, so it's basically 1 energy, 70 damage. Now we're talking, because 70 is one of those numbers, which is really kind of key in the Pokemon TCG, so actually, not as bad as you might think. But honestly, we're not playing this for Houndoom as an attacker, we're playing it for Houndoom as a support Pokemon. I mean, yesterday I showed you Single Strike Urshifu, V and V Max. And these are the kind of Pokemon that are going to really take advantage of this. Single Strike Urshifu does 180 damage for free energy, but you really want to make it up to, say, 220 to get a one-hit KO on a Zacian. Well, if you can hit a Single Strike Energy either turn 1 or turn 2 naturally, it doesn't matter. You then attach a well, an energy of any description on the other turn, and then use Hound Doom's ability, and all of a sudden Impact Blow is doing 220 turn 2, and that makes a huge difference. As long as you can attach the first 2 turns, and one of those attachments is a single strike energy, you can use Hound Doom to get the other one, and you are off and rolling. That is where Hound Doom comes in nicely. Or single strike Urshifu VMAX. 4 energy, 270, and as we said in yesterday's video, it's great against, tag teams, but even then, something like an Arcus and Algra and Palkia, you're 10 damage short. We'll use this to grab yourself a single strike energy, then you're actually 10 damage over. Or grab 2 single strike energy and then you're doing 310. And with a martial arts dojo, you're up to 320, because it is a fighting Pokemon. Make sure you've got at least one basic fighting on there. And all of a sudden, you are hitting key numbers. Something like a Centiskorch V Max comes in with a natural 320, and now you're getting a KO on them. That's what Houndoom does. I like the energy acceleration, and I like the fact that it is a single strike energy, because that means you're doing more damage. So not only are you getting your single strike Pokemon rolling faster, because you're accelerating energy, but you're also allowing them to do more damage faster, and we really are getting to the stage where the amount of damage that is printed isn't actually the amount of damage they're doing, and Houndoom is awesome. Hey, speaking of doing more damage than is printed on them, how about Emboar? Now, Emboar is a stage 2 fire Pokemon, but 180 damage is more than we expect. I say damage, I mean HP, but it's still more than we expect, and it's huge. 180 is about as high as we get on single prize Pokemon. That is awesome. The retreat cost of 4 is really annoying in terms of trying to get out the active, but it is actually quite nice in terms of you can just use buff padding, and now you go up to 230 HP, which, that's what Zamazenta has as the highest HP Pokemon V that gives up 2 prizes. This is ridiculous in terms of the amount of HP it's got. And the weakness to water is honestly fine. Again, there's things like Frostmoth, which we're all expecting might end up being good at some point in the future. But as we sit here at the moment, Frostmoth is not good. And we're not expecting Frostmoth to end up being a powerhouse kind of deck. So I am absolutely okay with this. We've got a huge amount of HP and a weakness that we are just not expecting to be hit. I like Emboar's survivability here. Now it's a fire Pokemon, so you're hitting weakness on metal Pokemon like Zacian. You're also hitting weakness on grass Pokemon, if they ever become good. You've got Welder to accelerate energy, which is quite nice given that you are a fire Pokemon. So, it's a good time to be a fire Pokemon. You've got a whole bunch of tricks. The unfortunate thing is here, it is kind of unlikely that you are actually going to be doing a huge amount of attacking. Again, the attack here is largely uninspiring. 4 energy, 130. Now, it's a single strike Pokemon, so you can use Hound Doom. It's a fire Pokemon, so you can use Welder. And there is a possibility here that you literally Welder 2 energy, Hound Doom an energy, attach for turn 150. Because remember, one of the energy will have to be a single strike in order to be accelerated using Hound Doom. So there's stuff we like here, but it's still 4 energy, 130. And, the bonus here is, because you got high HP and an uncommon weakness, you may well survive a hit, but it's still 4 energy. Let's not go crazy. But we're not really playing Emboar for the attack here. We're playing Emboar for the ability. And Emboar's ability is flat out great. Fighting Fury stance. Your single strike Pokemon's attacks do 30 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. Nice. So essentially, all of your single strike Pokemon do an extra 30 damage. Now this is huge. Because if we go back to, say, single strike Urshifu V Max, 270 damage I said wasn't enough. But now, if we've got a single strike energy on there and an Emboar in play, you do 320 damage, with more single strike energy potentially available. But there are a couple of important points we really need to make here. First of all, Stage 2 Fire Pokemon lets your Pokemon do an extra 30 damage. Has anyone spotted the resemblance here? It is Incineroar from Unified Minds. Now, it's got more HP and etc, but in terms of the ability, it is for Rapid Strike Pokemon as Incineroar is to all Pokemon. But if we look at those abilities side by side, there is a huge, gigantic, phenomenal difference between them. Who spotted it? Incineroar's ability reads, your Pokemon's attacks do 30 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon before applying weakness and resistance. You can't apply more than one strong cheer ability at a time. Emboar's ability reads, your Single Strike's Pokemon's attacks do 30 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon before applying weakness and resistance. That's not a dramatic pause, that's the end of the ability. So what that means is, whereas Incineroar's ability explicitly did not stack, Emboar's does. And we don't need a ruling on this. There's no ruling needed. The ruling is, it stacks unless it says it doesn't. Incineroar says it doesn't. Emboar doesn't say it doesn't, so Emboar does! Oh yes, ladies and gentlemen. Oh yes. This is just phenomenal. I love this. Yes, it's a stage 2. Yes, it's awkward to get in play, blah, blah, blah. More on that in the next video or the one after. But the fact of the matter is, Emboar is a Pokemon that is just going to get you to silly numbers. Bearing in mind, Single Strike Energy can be searched out with Houndoom, and that stacks. Emboar stacks. I mean, and look, I know this is unrealistic. Just humour me for a second. But if you've got a Pokemon with 4 Single Strike Energy attached, because you can only play 4 as a special energy, and you've got 4 Emboar in play, you're doing 200 extra damage. 80 for the 4 Single Strike Energy, 120 for the 4 Emboar, 80 plus 120, 200. Now, I know that's unrealistic. I know it's very unlikely you will ever get up to an extra 200 damage. But the point I'm making here is between Single Strike Energy, which can be searched out nicely with Houndoom, and your Emboar, you are getting up to just silly amounts of damage here, really kind of easily. This is adding up beautifully. Like, absolutely beautifully. We're expecting certain things, and look, it doesn't take a genius to figure out. Look at the names. Single Strike Stance or Pokemon or whatever, well, clearly they're going to have one big attack. Rapid Strike Pokemon, they're clearly going to be faster. That's what we're seeing as we go. But between Single Strike Energy with Houndoom and Emboar, you are really, really adding damage here quickly. But how much damage are you adding? How excited are you getting? I would surely like to know in the comment section, so let me know in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCG Radio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.